Hey everyone, I'm back with my post half marathon vlog. Talk a little bit about the race and the experience and everything in between and just some thoughts about it. Um, so it was quite an experience. The race itself was nothing I've ever experienced before. I give people who run like full marathons a big I got a lot of respect for people who run a full marathon because I mean they did what I did twice in a day, and by the time I was finishing my little half marathon, I was like, okay, I'm beat. Like I was physically exhausted. Um, I learned a lot from doing it too, and things that I would improve upon as I go along this journey because I'm definitely going to run more. Um, I think it inspired me to keep going and to keep doing this thing because I started really running at the end of April, and I could barely run up the block near my house. So 6 months later, or 7 months later, no, this is about 6 7 months later. I'm running a half marathon. So that was I felt very accomplished after yesterday, and I'll talk a little bit about the surprise that came up that Stephanie and one of my class parents, Brittany, planned. So the race started up pretty good. I started at the Bronx Yonkers border on McLean Avenue, where Nereid Avenue and McLean Avenue meet. Now, I didn't realize that I actually started a mile down too far because when I finished, technically I finished the half marathon a mile before I got to Kensico. But I'll talk more about that later. So anyway, I had a nice pace. Things were going well. I've been fighting a cough all week, and that had a little bit of an impact on the race. But I didn't lose my wind. I actually never really got tired, like winded, throughout the whole thing. Um, I had an energy drink before I started. That really helped. Um, I was cruising. First 8 miles, I was cruising. Um, I was gonna get water, and I opted not to because I wanted to keep going. I didn't want to stop my momentum. And then along the Bronx River Trail, there's some inclines, and right around mile 8, 8.5, I start to feel my legs a little sore. Like you could start feeling the tightness, and I didn't have the same push. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I'm getting dehydrated. So I get to 9.5 miles. I'm at Hartsdale, like there's like a tennis court area near there, and I stretch for 2.5 minutes, thinking maybe if I do that, that'll help. I was able to keep going for another run for another 3/4 of a mile, and then like around 10.5 miles, I had to just start walking it because I could feel my muscles really getting tired, and I'm like, if I keep pushing, I'm gonna pull something, or at least I thought so. Um, so I walked most of it. Then I would try to jog a little bit, but not wouldn't get much further than like a tenth of a mile, maybe 2/10 at most. Then I kept walking, and then the combination of that ended up being like maybe 2.5 miles. So I jogged a good 10 and a quarter, 10.5 miles. Walked probably 2.5 to finish the half, and the half ended for me about a mile and a half before I got to Kensico. So here's where things get interesting. So I'm on the phone with Stephanie while I'm walking, and she's asking me, "Where are you?" And how's things going. I'm telling her what happened, and at the time I was disappointed because I'm thinking like I wanted to run this whole thing, but then the other side of me is like, "But yeah, but look, you're gonna finish it." And I'm like, "Listen, you know, I was gonna get off the trail and go to my mom's house because there's a part where you exit the trail. I'm like, I'm gonna be done with this half before I get there. I miscalculated." And she's like, no, you gotta come. You gotta come all the way to Kensico. But I'm like, but that's gonna be 14 something miles. I don't need to go that far. So she's like pushing me to just finish it. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me just do this thing because I did tell everybody I'm going to Kensico. And I'm like, what's the extra mile? I mean, it's fine. I'll burn more calories. So anyway, I finished. Technically, I finished 13.2 miles in 2 hours and 55 minutes. That's with the walks too. So under 3 hours, I was happy. That was one of the goals. I wanted to finish it in. Well, one was to finish it, and two was to do it under 3 hours if possible, which I accomplished both. Now to get to Kensico, it takes me another 25 minutes. So to Kensico, it was 3 hours and 20 minutes, but that's 14.6 miles. So that's actually more than a half. So anyway, uh, so I'm coming around the last bend in Valhalla. That's Broadway, like Broadway, and you get Kensico's on the other side of the street. And I'm coming down, and I see Stephanie. She's at the corner, and she's coming close to me, but I'm telling her go back, to me just finish the trail. And I get there, and we hug, and I'm like beat, exhausted. I have my music on, so I'm not hearing background yet because I'm playing music the whole time. And I actually ran like the last quarter of a mile to Kensico just to to run the run in. I didn't want to walk in. I wanted to run in. So there's other stuff going on in the background. I have no idea. And I hug Stephanie, and then we start crossing over to Kensico. So we're crossing the street, and I see a lot of people, and I see signs. I'm just like, that sounded odd. These people holding signs for. I don't know. I thought it was like, I don't know what it was. I thought maybe people were on strike or something. I had no idea. But then I hear people cheering, and I'm like, what's going on over there? And I'm looking, and I see some of my students. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I said, did you bring people here? And she's laughing. She's like, no, I didn't have nothing to do with it. And I'm like, nah, you brought people here. Then I started figuring out why she wanted me to come to Kensico. And then it clicked. So the story is, one of my class parents named Brittany, I told her about what I was doing on Thursday, because the last day of school for the week was Thursday. And I shared my story, my journey. We were talking and whatnot. And she got a hold of my co-teacher, Anise. No, I'm sorry. I retold that wrong. Anise got a hold of my wife to say if it's okay if she can give her number to Brittany, and then Brittany contacted my wife, and they planned this whole thing, and they wanted to get as many parents and students there to come celebrate me to finish this marathon, half marathon. I had no idea, totally surprised. They had made posters, they gave me food and water and hugs, and it was overwhelming. I had no idea they were doing this. I was totally caught off guard. This video about it on Facebook now. It was priceless. I in a million years I would never thought that, because this was more like a personal run. It wasn't like a bunch of people running and people cheering you when you get to the race. I mean, I didn't expect that. So it was very touching, and I was at a loss for words. I wish I wasn't so exhausted, because in the moment I just couldn't speak. I was like sore, and I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I felt a little like all over the place, because I was dehydrated. I was really like, I knew where I was, but I felt like it was just like I was pooped, like totally absorbed and done. I had no energy left. But to see their faces, and it was quite a few of them, and for them to come up on a Saturday, I don't have kids, but I know how busy my students' parents are on the weekends. There's sports, there's play dates, Saturday's busy. Every day's busy, but Saturdays, to give up your time, and they got there like early. They got there like around 12. I didn't get there till like 1, like 1:10. I forget what time it was. It was after 1, because I told you I was struggling. Just to finish, and I had no idea that this was going on as I'm coming there. But I'm glad my wife convinced me to come all the way. She can be very persuasive when she needs to be. I told her that. But it was a special moment. Even two teachers that retired from Ward was there because apparently they were there. They happened to just be there. And then they saw some of these Ward people there, and then they figured out what was going on. The funny thing, there was a gentleman that walked past, and he was like, he was trying to figure it out too. And I told him what I had just done, and he was like, oh wow. So it was pretty neat. And I very appreciative of that. So I thank Brittany and Stephanie and all the parents, Zoe's mom, and she brought her kids there, little kids, like babies with, like it was a lot. Presley's mom came, and Zara's mom and Zara came. It was, I'm trying to think if I don't want to forget anybody, um, but it was Beth Weinberg. Like I said, she happened to be there. She was a retired teacher at Ward. She happened to be there while she didn't know this was going on. And Lori Schuster. So when I saw them, I'm like, wow, well, they're there too. I'm like, how'd they find out? So it was quite an experience, and I won't forget it. Couple things I learned from the race. Um, Gonna hydrate better. I'm actually gonna look into. I was talking to my brother, and he does this stuff with Gatorade, and he works for Pepsi. So he's talking to me about some things I could do, um, and looking into different hydration products. Continue with my strength training. Want to build my leg strength up, so I'm gonna definitely do more stuff with steps and with weights, and we have a squat machine in the basement. I'm gonna start using more, and just keep running. Just I got to keep running. This was a great experience, and when I think about it, I was able to finish it in the time that I wanted to finish it. Maybe I didn't finish the way I hoped to. I wanted to be able to run the whole thing, but I did pretty good, and I feel accomplished with what's happened. And the funny thing is, so I took 2 Tylenol when I got to my mom's house later on, and then took ibuprofen last night. Slept great. Woke up today, felt great. Not too much pain. No pain at all actually. I actually did some working out in my basement. Not too much, but did a little bit, on the rowing machine, and walked around a little bit. We had to go to Manhattan for something today, and to visit my my wife's great aunt, and but because I had a little cough, I didn't want to go into the facility, so I walked around, 77th and Lexington and that whole area, and I was walking around for like an hour, and just to stretch my legs out. So I actually felt pretty good. Um, I just got to keep going, and and keep my running up, and use this as an experience. I guess now going forward, I wonder what it'll feel like to run my little short runs now. Hopefully it'll be easier, because after running what I did this weekend, that was like surely an experience. Definitely plan to enter some races, in the spring. Even do like 10Ks and 5Ks, and then do the half. But even getting the experience of just running a 10K, just the experience of what it is to run in a race will be good for me. And at least I know I could do a 10K, easily. I think that's 6.3 miles or something like that. So, and I ran this race, and I was kind of sick a little. I mean, not sick, but I had a little bit of a cold. So, people were like, yeah, you did this and you coughing. And I'm like, yeah, but, I didn't want to postpone it. And it was a perfect weekend because I got Friday to rest. And, but it was a great experience. I think it made me want to do it again. And so I wasn't like, oh, I'm never doing this again. This is like crazy. I mean, I was tired, but I'm like, no, I would definitely do this again. And I would just do it better and smarter, and learn from this. So, but thanks to everyone for all their support, and all the just all the kind words that people shared, and people said it's been inspirational for them. So if this has helped you in some way, I'm glad to hear that. I would just say, like I said, like I've been saying all along with this journey, like, don't say what you can't do. Don't sell yourself short. When you put your mind to something, you can accomplish great feats. And you may not always reach the goal in the way you want to, but you'll do more than you thought you could. And I think for my students to see this, hopefully years down the road they'll remember it and it'll inspire them to do great things too. So um, I'm very appreciative of everybody. So I'll keep logging. Got to keep the maintenance up, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.